the government decided to put in place a commission for restitution. I can see in this decision a definite, the final making of a changing process in the remembrance or the politic of remembrance of Togo. They are changing to address the issue of colonialism with like how it is. It means, like from the perspective of the colonizers, the colonized one, and the impact on the society. So that's how I can read the decision to set in place the commission. And I don't know when they will be coming to Germany, but from what I know, they are starting already with discussions.
Welcome to a new episode of the podcast Decolonial Memories. I'm Thomas Fuß. Today I have the pleasure and honor to talk to Dr. Ohiniko Toffa. He works as a provenance researcher at the Ethnological Museum, Berlin. Dr. Ohiniko Toffa, welcome to the podcast Decolonial Memories. Thank you very much for sharing your time.
Thank you, Thomas, for inviting me to this discussion. Happy to be here.
Let's begin with the personal information. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Lomé. I was born in Atakpame. And
which part of the country is that?
A little bit in the central part of the country of Togo. I was born in Atakpame. While my mother was on vacation in Atakpame because she was working in Tabligbo in the southern part, in very, very on the coast. And after that, she brought me back to Tabligbo where she was working. So I grew up there in Tabligbo till 9 years, and my mother died. And after his death, I should go back to Atakpame to my aunt, who is working also in Atakpame. And after, I think 6 years later, she died also from cancer, breast cancer. And then I came back to Aniho. So to sum it up, my father is from Aniho.
That's the south of Togo,
yeah,
on the coast.
On the coast. Very beautiful, very, very, very beautiful city. And I'm from there. And after the death of my aunt, I came back to Aniho, where I grew up with my father till my A level. How do you call abitur? I don't know. And after this examination, I went to the university in Lomé, and I did there at the university. I chose German studies, and this German studies it is not the same thing like German studies in Germany. It is something else. It's more like African studies in Germany. So you choose the German studies. We start with the whole information about Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and every German-speaking country. 3 years learning the language, and after the 3 years, you choose a branch. And I choose German culture, what they call culture studies. And in this branch, I did my master on colonial history in cooperation with the history department of history, archaeology, and everything. And from there, I decided to continue with my master. After my master, with a PhD on the legacy of the German missionaries in Togo, especially in Aneho. I was in Togo criticizing the Christianization of the people and the impact of this Christianization on the mentality. I
Yeah.
was at that time.
Sorry, we'll get back to
Okay, thank
your
you.
dissertation there. I'm sorry to hear about the grief you experienced through the early death of your mother and then your aunt. So that must have been very hard on you emotionally growing up there. Uh, Talking about German colonialism in Togo, how much was that talked about in your family or in your circle of friends?
In my family, it's more positively. My father will be saying, for instance, you should work like the German. And it's not that he knows something about the German colonialism, but it is more to push me to work hard and work like the German. That's what remained by my father as remembrance. Maybe he got that also from his father, because my father did his school under the French, really. But this remembrance about the German colonialism, like he addressed it to me, work like the German, I can only relate it to his own father, maybe. And this own father, I cannot say now which generation was that, but I'm sure this should be, it is not the slave one. It is the father of the slave. Maybe my grandfather's father was the slave one.
Okay, so
But we can cut it later on. Let me come back to the issue, the main issue.
so you would say that growing up, your idea or conception of the German was positive.
Yeah, from my father already, was positive.
Now, you mentioned that one of your forefathers was enslaved.
Yeah,
Which part of Togo was that?
in Aneho. The history in the family is he was bought in Kamboli, in the northern part of Togo. There was a big market of selling slaves in Salaga, Kamboli, till to the north pass. Also, people engage, local communities engage in slave trade were for the greater part the Afro descendants, the Afro Brazilian, who came back after the first the slave trade, like the Olympio, the De Souza, and we call them in Togo the Aguda. They came back from Brazil, from all those country from where they have been brought to where they have been brought to. They came back and they settled on the coast, building new city like Liberia, Sierra Leone, Freetown, to the to Benin, or today Benin, or the former Dahomey, Gold Coast. Togo, the part of Togo, this small land which is known today as Togo, was called, before the German colonialism, the coast of slave. There is, you can see today a big wall where the slave take their bath before being taken back to America or where they need to go to. And we have site today like this wall, like wall and water in it. They put them in it and they bath them and they put them in the
So it's
ship.
maintained like a memorial.
It is a memorial site in Agovudu, I think on the coast.
So your
So
family remembers this part of their history, this enslavement?
how did we come to this history? My aunt, my Tassie, the younger sister of my father, was investigating the past of our family. And she was told that our great great grandfather had something on his left hand here in this,
Like the
how do
upper part of the arm,
yeah,
the shoulder.
in this shoulder. It is like a metal, and they call them chambaga. And in the investigation of this chambaga, she was told that chambaga was for slave people. They wear that here as signs that they have been brought to a place where they don't come from. And this chambaga is also like a god they are praying to in order not to be brought to oversee. So the problem was my aunt was told she needs to call the spirit of this chamber because our great great father is angry that we are no more worshiping what had saved his life.
To
And
stay
to
in
stay
Africa, not to
because
be deported.
because she was not deported. Our great grandfather said it is because of this God, the Chambaga, who protect him not to be deported to overseas. So he worshipped the Chambaga all his life before dying. And now nobody in the family is taking care of the chamber, the spirit of the chamber. And investigating the issue, it was told my auntie that uh, the descendants of this great grandfather, we need to settle now a shrine for the spirit of the chamber, so the soul of our grandfather can rest in peace, and now things will be flourishing for the member of the family. That's how we got to the issue. And my aunt continued the invest with my uncle until they went to the royal family. And there, asking the king about the issue, the king said, yeah, it is true. You have been, they call them amipeple, like people who have been bought. So they
So which king of the original community?
we belongs to the Ajigo community. They are in Adeho. The Ajigo, they came originally from Ghana. We belong to these tradition lines.
Yeah, okay.
But we are not considered as people originally who belong directly to the family, to this group of to the rules. We are not involved directly in the rule. They consider us as people who have been associated to the community through slave trade. It is not the same thing like someone you buy and you bring it. The slave, they are part of the community in any way. They don't feel this big differentiation, but they remain as people who have been sold. So, but they are part of the community anyway. And so We have been associated, so they are calling us associated family, famille associée. That's
So
why
even today, your community would know that originally your forefather joined the community as an enslaved person.
the man who bought my ancestor was Bill Kataria. We found the name, but my aunt and my uncle, they don't want to pursue the issue again. They want to close the debate because the king and the family, they say no, there is no need to go further because this thing has been finished long time ago. We are no more slave, so we are plenty member of the family now. So and because they told them, because if you continue to say that, we will pay for what has happened to you. So the community, the king and the people associated should pay to us, not we, because now it is a bad thing. It is not correct to be known as someone who have slaves or something like that. So they want to end the issue quickly.
So that was okay for your family, that this, to put it to rest now.
Because they want to belong to the family as a whole.
Good. Okay, coming back to your
my English.
no, that's fine. Coming back to your educational career. So you already mentioned that you came to Germany in 2015. Is that correct?
Yeah,
to begin
September
2015 to start your PhD program at the University of Bremen, looking at the missionary, one particular missionary from northern Germany. What are some of the findings that you got through your doctoral dissertations? What's the role or the relationship of the mission to the German colonial rule in Togo?
I was researching on the conception of Franz Michel Zahn. He was an inspector of the mission,
the North German
mission with the base of the German mission, the Bremer mission is in Bremen. We refer to the Protestant in South Togo as Brematou, the people of Bremen. So it's like that. We to call the Protestants, we call them Brematou, the people, the Church of Bremen, till today. So it was something like that. It started like that with this notion we have till today in our language, referring to the past, to this colonial past. When I was in Bremen, it was about to research on how Franz Michel Zahn, this inspector, conceived the mission and the evangelization in Togo, for instance. Why Franz Michel Zahn? Why did I choose Franz Michel Zahn? Because there are many inspectors, not Franz. He was the first one, so the grounds of the mission was settled by him.
That was even before the beginning of the formal colonial rule, isn't it?
Before the formal colonial, even before. And he set up the ground of the mission, and he was against the colonial politic. So the two reasons pushed me to choose him and to investigate more on how independently from the colonial influence, the influence of the colonial politics, Christianity has influenced our society, independent from the colonial politics, because he was against the colonial politics. My issue was not to research directly the colonial influence on mission or the collaboration between mission, but I consider the mission in itself as a sort of imperialism and colonialism. And I want to show that the colonial morals or the rules or the motivation to colonize a people have their sources in the history of the Christianity. And that was the main hypothesis, the main idea which pushed me to choose Franz Michel Zahn as one of these person who, through Christianity and evangelization, has infantilized a lot the Togolese and prepared them to accept the German colonial order.
Okay, so they
Because the
open
Christianity,
the gate, they provide
by
the ground.
transferring, educating them to obey. And this was the main idea which pushed me to choose Franz Michel. The result of my PhD is that I can prove that Christianity and mission has really impacted the colonized one. And even before the colonized, as one German historian said it, the German mission prepared the ground for the German colonization. Horst Gründer said it like that. The Bremer mission prepared the ground for the German colonization. It was true.
So, as a consequence for today, would you say that the people in Togo should turn away from Christianity to return to their own roots, the indigenous religious beliefs?
I want to say something first of all. The indigenous, so what we call traditional religions in Africa, in Togo and West Africa, there were no traditional, this, what we call traditional religion, there were no religion in this sense. The word religion, for instance, is not really part of the Ewe language. You cannot find a word in Ewe language now. I cannot remember a word who resemble to religion. And one of the missionaries, Bremer missionaries, even said it. He said he researched, but he cannot find a word for religion in the Ewe language. And the Ewe language was written in the Roman alphabet by the German missionaries. Westermann was one of the father of the language. That's the first thing I want to put on the table. It was not religion like that. It was more life ethics, spirituality, way of conduct, things like that. And secondly, I want to say there were no paradise before the German colonization. Our people were also in any way bad. There were bad things in these spiritualities, and there were also good things. I am not saying that Christianity is totally bad and our tradition are the best. No. So there were bad things, but also there were good things. What I am focusing on is the good things, so that people should not forget and continue to demonize themselves as bad person because they believe in those things. Personally, I think it is difficult for me to say that my father or my mother is totally dead, and I don't have any remembrance of him, of her or him, and I am not praying for her or for him. I am praying for my mother, and I can invoke her. If it makes me silly or bad person or psychologically, that I think those limits of the reason or those things coming from Europe, saying by the modernity, I want to say, saying that people who are thinking that deaths are or by their soul, they are present, should interrogate themselves, because the reason has also its limit, as Kant have said it already. Me, I think it is important to remember the deaf, to pray for them, and I even say, you judge a community by how this community take care of his cemetery, because it is a lot of science to see how a community is taking care of people who has gone, and taking remembering what they have done on the earth. This things is, for instance, part of the rituals. In my country, in my home, we have something we call Yohome. Yohome is the place where one time in a year, the whole family gather together to pray for the ancestor. And you will see there people from generation to generation, generation to generation. And when you enter this room, for me, my father has no right to speak for me in front of the court. If something happened to me, my father has no right. It is his sister or his elder sister who has the right to speak Bürgen, like I don't know how to say it in English, to advocate for me when I have some problem. It is my aunt who has this right, not my father. So when you enter the room, there is the elder auntie, the eldest one. She said on this special day, she sits in the room and welcome us all, and ask, you are the son of, and she can call generation from generation from generation, all the generation from your ancestor, old ancestor, and she can say, you see there, in this bottle there is the how do you call negro, the hair
The
piece,
nails, the nails
yeah,
from
piece
a
of the
person. Yes.
piece of hairs and nails of your ancestor, they are there. So this brings the community together. We know history, we can start to each other, we know where we come from. This piece of whole is symbol of the unity of the family. So I don't want to say it is bad.
So this spirituality is not opposed to Christianity, if I understand it correctly.
The Catholic Church is understand that, but continue to call it a little bit demon or satanic. The Protestant, they refuse it totally. So there is a little bit struggle to Christianity, compare it with this spirituality. My uncle is Catholic, and sometimes when we have this ceremony one time in the year, he called priest to come. The priest come and say, I can understand that it is like how we invoke the saint in our church, but what you are doing, it so, like, he make his comments, and so, and he refused that people continue to worship that. So I can say, as Olukbona, one of my teachers, said it, the Christianity has fought a lot the local spiritualities. It had destroyed them, because what I remark also by doing my thesis is that not the local religion or spiritualities have something against the Christianity. It is Christianity who was jealous, because he want one God, and that's what I show also in my dissertation. I say the conversion of the Ewe is linguistically the transformation of God with S at the end in God, and it changed everything in the Ewe language. That's the main things. And so the Christianity was jealous because he said, you should not have another God. And he fought against all other gods which have been existing. No cooperation.
Now, leaving your dissertational work, in the next section we'll talk about your present occupation. Dr. Toffa, today you work as provenance researcher for the State Museums of Berlin in the Central Archive. Could you provide some idea what your work looks like?
Yeah. I am researching the provenance of the colonial collection in the Ethnological Museum in Berlin. And there they have a lot of collections, artifacts coming from the German colony of Togo. Normally, I am also in charge to provide assistance when it is about Cameroon. But now I am totally dedicated to Togo because it is a lot of research to do. I started here in 2024, in January, and my job, I can describe my job in two parts. The first one is systematically to research the collections, to question or to investigate the collection on things which have been wrongfully collected in the colonial time. Even for me, the whole period of the colonial politic in Togo, I mean 1884 till 1914, for me is illegal. So it's for me. But what I think it is very, very interesting in my job is to reconstruct this history, which is attached to the collections.
Can you provide some examples?
Yeah, for instance, I have this special case of the Chankpa, the King Chankpa from Palave. Palave is
which part of the country?
It is the central part of the country, and Atakpame, Anye. And Chankpa is from Palave and was against the German colonizer who is called Wolf, Ludwig Wolf.
The colonial officer.
The colonial officer. Ludwig Wolf was one of the first colonial officers to be sent to Togo after coming back from Congo, where he was in mission for the King Leopold II
for
Belgium, with Wisman, Côte von François. They were there, and after the Berlin Conference, they came back to Germany. And with this experience they have gathered by doing expedition for the King of Belgium, the Kaiser Bismarck decided to send them to explore the hinterland of Togo. Wisman was sent to Tanzania, and Wolf, Côte von François, and one Buschlag was sent to Togo.
By the Chancellor, German
by
Chancellor
the Chancellor
Bismarck.
itself. He did it diplomatically. He was not signing the letter or the assignment, the order. He was not the one who signed it directly. For instance, the order to go to Togo was for Wolf was signed by Graf von Berchem. He was working directly under the order of Bismarck Chancellor, the Chancellor Bismarck. Graf von Berchem signed the order.
He went to Togo, this colonial officer, and then please lead us up to the case how he appropriated the cultural belonging.
Yeah, he went to Togo, and his job was to explore how to. First of all, the job was not to collect. The job is to colonize. That was the job. The job is to explore and to see how the German metropole can gain benefit from colonizing this land. And he started by doing what they call expedition in the northern part, the hinterland expedition. And he arrived a little bit in the middle, and there he created a station, a colonial station. And he called this station with the name of the chancellor, Bismarcksburg. When he was creating this station, people around the area where the station was created were not in favor of this presence. Many of them are refusing the presence of the German occupation. How a colonial station is created? A colonial station is created by setting the flag, first of all. They set the flag, and it changed everything for the local population. It means
The German flag was
the
raised
German
there.
flag, and this time the German flag and the flag of the colony. They have also something for the marine or the soldiers. They have a flag for the colony. They set the flag to show that this place is now under the German control. The second things they did is also to change the name of the locality. This place is, for instance, Anier or something like that. They changed it in Bismarcksburg, and from this time on, the local people are no more referring to this place like they used to. They refer to this place in the German way.
So did they resist? Did they take up arms to fight against the
Yeah,
Germans?
that's where the collecting started. So some of them, they don't take arms, but they are resisting, like the chief Palave, the chief Champa of Palave said no and blocked the route where they want some route. They were extending the territory of the station, and they were making streets to transport the anything they can gain from the area to the south, to the coast, so that from there it can go to Germany. Chief Champa is blocking everything and said no route for the German collections which are going to the southern part. That was the main reason why he deserved to be punished. And that's why we call it punitive expedition. He organized then this punitive expedition because he was saying Champa was a criminal, he was a brigand, he is not obeying. And he said also, Ludwig
The
Wolf,
colonial officer.
the
Wolf.
colonial officer, said if he didn't he didn't punish Champa, other people will do it. So he want to show example by punishing Champa so that anybody in the area will know the power of the German colonizers.
So what did punish mean exactly? What happened then?
The punitive expedition is as Jan is researching it already, is a military expedition.
You mean Jan Legal?
Jan
from
Legal,
the technical
yeah, from the
university.
technical university.
Yes. So it's the use of military violence.
Yeah, the use
So the
of
chief
military
was-
violence.
and the people were defeated and killed. What happened?
Yes, they enter the village in the night, and they destroy any houses, every houses they have seen, looking for Champa, who was captured and killed with firearm. Ludwig wrote in his letter, I shot him with one bullet, which transperced his his stomach,
Okay.
and directly.
But what happened then? Let's go back to the belongings, to the cultural
When
belongings that were taken and ended up in Berlin.
after killing him, he take all his ritual, because Changpa was known also as priest. He take all his belongings, his rituals, object, and everything. The cup of Changpa, I found it here in the Ethnological Museum.
In the depot, right?
In the
In the
depot.
storeroom. It
Yeah,
was
the
not
storeroom.
exhibited.
Yeah. And he cut his head and two other heads of two collaborators of Changpa, or two, and the third one, I don't know his name. He cut also their head, and take also the rituals object, everything, and send them to Berlin.
To the Ethnological Museum.
First of all, to Adolf Bashian, and this time as the director of Ethnological Museum. And when the collection arrived here in Berlin, Adolf Bashian separate them. The so-called anthropological collection, so the head, they went to Virchow with the accompanying letters.
Rudolf Virchow
Rudolf
and the
Virchow,
Charité.
and this time.
Yeah, okay, at this society.
I don't know if he's the Charity or something.
Okay, yeah, to the
So
society.
Virchow,
Yeah.
and the ritual object remain in the Ethnological Museum.
So now you see these belongings, the ritual belongings, you identify the circumstances under which they were translocated from Togo to Berlin. To what extent are you in contact with the original community? Are they aware that these belongings are here in Berlin?
I am preparing to go back to Atapame. I tried to contact already the mayor of Atapame. I didn't have success, but I have someone who is working on that with me, because I want to implicate directly the mayor, not by the national government. I want to implicate first of all the mayor. And
what do you want to accomplish in connecting with the mayor and the community there, the descendants? What's your intention to reach out to them?
I want them to know, first of all, that their forefather is in Berlin. I can work with the national government and ask for and tell them that this thing has happened, or inform the direction of the museum and that this thing happened. But what I want to discuss with the people is the history. I want to work on this remembrance. I want them to take back their history, first of all, to appropriate this history. I want to investigate on the presence of this history, the actuality of this history. That's what I want. That's what I want to achieve by doing so.
Can we turn to this collaborative project on colonial film that you're having with the National Archives of Togo? Mm-hmm. Please provide some details, what you intend to do there.
Mm-hmm. The colonial films of Hans Schomburg. Hans Schomburg went in Togo and filmed the people by walking.
During the German colonial
rule. During the
German
colonial rule, 1903, 1904, 1905, in this time. And especially the working group of Kamina to build this radio station, or this information station, with which Germany was communicating directly with Berlin or Nauen.
Nauen here in Brandenburg. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the connection.
Directly with Berlin. So how people have worked there, and by suffering, he filmed all that, and it is a piece of proof about the violence and the situation of the colonized people.
Where are the films today?
They are everywhere. Some of them from Camina, for instance, are in the Technic Museum in Berlin.
Yes.
I contact them already, and we have 2 films there. We found also some of them in Bundesarchiv Lichterfeld in Berlin. And we are working with Jürgen Ellinghaus, who has produced some of those films in Togo in the form of Togoland projections. He know other institutions who have those films. So he is leading us now to collect, to create a repertoire, and with all the institutions which have the film. After that, we will want, with the National Archive of Togo, we want to ask the institution if we can transfer the film on another
In a digital
in
way.
digital way, to bring them back to Togo and to show them to the descendants of the colonized people.
And then a further collaborative project where you work with the Botanical Museum and the Museum for Natural Science. What's the purpose there?
We applied at the Dated Deutsches Zentrum für Kulturgutverluste,
The Lost Art
the Lost
Foundation.
Art Foundation. We applied for a funding for 2 years to research systematically the provenance of collections or artifacts coming from 2 stations, colonial station in Togo, Bismarcksburg and Missawe. And we know in that time they didn't collect only for the ethnological museum, they collect also for historical museums like the
Natural
Berlin
History Museum.
Natural History Museum, like they collected also for National History Museum, like Botanical Garden and Natural Museum. So we come together to research the origin of all the collection coming from Togo to Berlin, first of all, and how they have been dispatched to every institution. But the National History Museum, the Museum of National History, Botanical Garden, and they are not working the same way we are working in ethnological museum. So we need this kind of transdisciplinary provenance research. So we come together with each institution bring his methods, and we put them together to conduct the research. It will start in May.
Yes, and do you have partners in Togo in this project?
We have Kodugavua, for instance, who is chairing restitution issue in Ghana. Because when Togo, the German colony of Togo, has a small part in Ghana, we call them British Togo. It belongs now to Ghana. We have also a small part, it is difficult to be identified, but a part also belongs now to Benin. And people living in Benin, also in Togo, from the same cultural groups. And in the northern part, we have, for instance, the Moba. They are also in Burkina Faso, but also they are in Togo. And when you are researching today on Moba, you will find them in Burkina Faso, but you will find them in Togo also. It is not just Togo like that, but this community is now separated by the colonial frontiers, the colonial borders. But it engaged them. So that's why we have involved the Ghana part and the Togolese part. So we have one partner in Lomé, the National Archive of Lomé, Maison Tossa, and we have Kodugavua for the Ghanaian part, who is chairing the restitution issue in Ghana. But we want to involve, I wanted to involve also my partner from Benin, Patrick Efibole, but we couldn't make it.
So in the next section, we'll talk about the conversations in Togo about German colonialism.
Okay.
Dr. Toffa, in Togo, are people aware of the period of German colonialism at all?
Yeah. Yeah. The German colonialism is present in the community of Togo. It is present. And that is not the main issue. The main issue is how they react to that. How they remember the German colonialism. It is present. They know that. Many people know that Togo have been colonized by the German. But the main issue is how they remember that. And that is where I want to differentiate a little bit. At the level of the state, I am personally remarking a certain transformation of a so troubling history into friendship, in calling for things like our German friends, Togo, the German has made out of Togo something which he has never been, or something like that.
Like a development
policy.
effort. That's the official line by the government, you would say.
And last time, I think, I cannot remember, but one of the German, the representative of the German community in Togo has celebrated the death of German colonialists in Togo, in Aneho, by in the saying German Togo friendship. They went to the cemetery and take care of the grave of the German ancestors, while nothing have been mentioned about the victims in wars. Personally, I understand this political position of the German, because the Togolese government, because the restitution issue is also impacted by the current situation. Underdeveloped country can never ask directly and frontally a country who is financing to maybe to 50% his existence.
So the development assistance. So there's this dependency, you would say.
Yeah, this dependency situation, economic dependency between many African countries and European countries, impact also the restitution situation. I mean, they don't want to disturb a lot their German friends, but since last year, I am seeing a small turning point. Not in the way they are changing a little bit their policies, their politic. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Professor Robert Doucet, who is a philosopher, is engaged all over the world now in Pan-Africanism, reparation for colonialism, and he's doing a lot all over the world, calling for reparation. Togo has elaborated the declaration which have been adopted by the African Union last year, condemning German all colonialism as a crime against humanity. It has been adopted by the African Union. Togo and Algeria was the two countries which leads the process to its adoptions. And one palace also in Lomé, the German government has been transformed into museum, a colonial palace for
Colonial building,
colonial
colonial
building.
architecture.
Colonial building has been transformed now in a museum called Palais de Lomé, and there also they are doing a lot. Lastly, the government decided to put in place a commission for restitution. I can see in this decision a definite the final making of a changing process in the remembrance or the politic of remembrance of Togo. They are changing to address the issue of colonialism with like how it is. It means, I mean, like from the perspective of the colonizers, the colonized one, and the impact on the society. So that's how I can read the decision to set in place the commission. And I don't know when they will be coming to Germany, but from what I know, they are starting already with discussions, and I don't know when it will finish. But in Togo, things can take long. The second level of this society are the professors at the university. They are the very engaged people against colonialism and its impact, especially those one who are studying the colonial history. The historian from the University of Lomé, like Koku Azamede, and Igbe also, Mesan Tosa, are very, very engaged against a certain amnesia of this past. And they are interrogating this past, writing and showing the presence and the negative impact on the Togolese society.
Are there certain communities where you see that they're actively remembering their suffering or the violence through German colonial troops?
The people are from the northern part.
Can
Now,
you give an example of a community and what they are doing to remember?
The Basari, for instance, are remembering a certain violence. I never researched on that like that, but my colleague Napo,
who lives in Kassel,
Kassel, is working on that, and there is a ceremony one times in the year. The German embassy go to Bassar to meet the community and reflect on this past. I think it was a war against the Basari the Basari people, which caused a lot of death. And the German government is aware, the German embassy, and some people, they are aware of that. And they are discussing. Sometimes they go there, and that's what Napo told me. Sometimes they go there to discuss directly with the community, the people from the Bassa region. And it is in Kara, Région de la Kara. It is in the northern part. In Aneho, they are remembering, but in the way I said it already, in this way of friendship.
Turning to the youth, let's say you had a 16-year-old youth from Togo, and how would you approach this person now and try to get him or her interested in the dark episodes of the past?
Every Togolese learn in the school that Togo has been a German colony. They learned it in the primary school. They learned it from class 3 to class 6. They learn it, They know also the name of certain German colonizers for me.
But what do they learn? Is it also the complete story or just some positive
The
aspects?
positive aspect only. Like the German has made a lot of streets. They have rails,
Yeah, like the
the
infrastructure.
infrastructure. They have developed the country, and they learn also the name of the German governors, the colonial governors. One they know, and I have learned it also, is Graf von Zech, Julius Graf von Zech, Adolf von Mecklenburg, and these two. They know, they learned it, but Graf von Zech, for instance, was very brutal. But they continue to recite it as one of the savior of the Togolese people.
But coming back to the 16-year-old youth, how would you get him or her interested to explore the full reality of the past?
It is a little bit complicated. I don't know how to proceed. um, uh, I think the best way is to bring pictures and to show them the pictures of this reality. It's more convincing than telling them the history through out of my mouth. To bring them some archive. That's why the displacement of the colonial archive to the metropoles is also a bad thing. The collecting of colonial memory, those things, ritual things, it is also a collecting of memory, this displacement.
So this is the colonial archives. They are all in Germany, in Berlin.
Many of them, the bigger part, not in Berlin already, or alone. They have been dispatched, some in France. And the National Archive of Togo is not also taking care of them. I mean, and that's why. But coming back to the youth, to convince them to is to bring this picture and to show them that what they have learned is false. By telling the colonial history to a young boy or girl in Togo, is to correct what he or she has already learned. It is not to bring him a new history. They know it already, but to what I am supposed to do now is to correct what they have known from their teachers. So this is bringing picture of the collecting people. For instance, I was in Agwegan 2022, and I was telling a professor of German at the lycée. He is a friend of mine. He came to me, and we were talking, and I told him, "Do you know that the German killed people in this region?" He told me that I am lying because he cannot believe that. So German are not so uncivilized to kill people. A professor of German language. So it is to correct what we have in our memory. It is not because they don't know. They didn't conduct a lot of research on that. But people at the university, they have done so. What we can do also is that history research conducted at the university and in Germany should be brought in the books used in school so that we can tell the truth we are finding in the colonial archive.
So in the final section, we'll turn to your perceptions and experiences in Germany. Dr. Toffa, you have lived 11 years now in Germany. What is your perception with regard to how Germany, the German society, German politics addresses colonial legacies?
I think Germany is doing quite great, but it remains a lot to do.
What do you find great? Can you provide specific examples?
I find very very good the creation of this commission, which will be in the foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I read that last time that there will be a special commission in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs which will be in charge of the restitution.
The coordination council
The coordination
that
council
then would deal with the governments of the former German
Yeah.
colonies.
Yeah, I think it is a great step in the right direction. Let us see how it will work, and it can also be a political path to the former German colonies, so that they can come together and really work and take and on a political level. And I can salute also the creation of the fund for research. I mean the Department of Colonial Collections at the German Lost Art Foundation. They are doing also great. I want to play just I want a little bit to play for more money for them, so that we can apply more, because we need to research a lot. The ethnological museum and other museums confronted with the colonial past need a lot of money. It is important for our democracy to research on the German colonial past. It is very important, and museum and ethnological museum and other museum, especially the ethnological museum, I am seeing them as institutions which can strengthen democracy in our society. Because knowing this past, they can communicate a lot on that and educate the youth to more democracy and respect for the society, a migration society.
Now you work for Ethnological Museum Berlin. You used to work a number of years for ethnological museums in Saxony, Leipzig and Dresden. What is your perception of German museums in general? Are they ready to confront their implication and their entanglement with the German colonialism?
The German museum, especially the ethnological museum, from what I have learned from them, there is a lot, a lot to do to get to the level of to the level of the affection or the impact the German colonialism has and or to get to the level how colonial politics has impacted the source communities. Sometimes I am seeing them like people who are talking out of their mouth about things they don't know. They need to know more about that. And it is important that they know that this history has affected a lot of people, not no more speaking in their name, for instance. Give them the place to speak. These source communities should not be instrumentalized, for instance. They need free speech to tell their frustration, and no more saying, I don't want to see emotion or something like that. By saying that, it is the discussion is turning to racialization of the emotion of colonized people. It is very, very bad. For instance, that is, for instance, when such community come to the museums, I was told in a museum that I am emotionalizing all the debate. That's not it. You read in the archive that someone has been killed. I am affected directly. And this person who has been killed is black, and I am black. I come from Togo. How can I react? How can I feel? And how people are telling me that I am emotionalizing the discussion. That's not true. I cannot believe it. So to put it together, I think the ethnological museums in Germany need to do a lot. They are doing what they can, but then it remains a lot to get to that level of the real consequences and how people feel this history in their body. Not only people in Togo, Ghana, Namibia, or I don't know, people in Germany, the Afro diaspora, people are affected continuously. In I said one day, in any racist attack, the colonial history come again and again and again. That's the point. We need to to know it, to accept it, and to correct it.
What kind of experiences have you made with the civil society groups that are active in the decolonial field?
I know them. They are my friends. Some of them are my friends, and I want to call for unity in this field. They are doing the same thing. They have the same goals. I don't understand sometimes why these misunderstanding are coming from. And to be concrete, I know decolonized Berlin. I met them already. I worked already with them. We have worked together. I know also initiative Black People of Germany.
Yes, the ISD.
Yeah, the ISD. I know them. We have been. I have been on the same podium with Tahidela in Leipzig, and and Ibu Diop and his work. I am
For
closely
the
the
Museum of the City of Berlin.
I'm closely attached to what he's doing. Also, I know him since 2021 or 2022, and I know that some of them are okay. I don't want to go to that point, but I think they are doing great, and they need also support from everywhere it can come from. If the government cannot finance them, it is true, but I'm calling for any good willing who are able to support the political engagement of our civil society.
How about the German missionary societies? How do you look at them?
Especially the Bremer mission is open to engage a lot with the colonial past. At the same time, the Bremen mission should reflect on the continuity of of colonial impact, or the continuity of colonial relation. Maybe sometimes this relation can turn to a relation which is like which are like colonial relations, and it is important that there is a decolonization of this kind of partnership, which can now be brought up between former mission, and the today church in Ghana and Togo, for instance. I'm saying that the missions, if they stop to call themselves mission, because there is a huge issue in the fact that they are mission. It means that they want to evangelize people, and evangelization is always with power relations. Foucault, one of my in my dissertation, I designed one of these power relations as a pastoral power, as though the pastor who is conducting his people, and there is a kind of power relation. This pastoral power was originally theorized from Foucault, one of the French philosophers.
Michel Foucault.
Michel Foucault. The pastoral power. And the impact of the pastoral power is the infantilization of people. They are considered as people who don't know the truth and who need to be brought to the truth. And this, by doing so, the people feel infantilized, and it is not good for the personal development.
Coming back to the 18-year-old youth, but now in Germany,
Okay.
German youth, how would you address him or her to motivate her, to get her or him interested to address German colonialism in its full reality?
First of all, I want to say I receive a lot of invitation of you young people, and at any time I see young people at the university, the student doing master or something, I will be always there. I accept especially the invitation of young people working at the university or doing something like that, because I think they are the next generation. We need to tell them the history, to give them back what we are researching, in order to to build them a little bit, to empower them to do in the way we are doing now. And personally, when I go to their meeting and I want to speak with them, I start always by showing a picture from the museum, the picture of the artifact, by showing them the quotations or the archive, how the context of accusation or something, or taken away to everything like that. And what I like this reaction when they say, I don't know that, all that. When they say, I didn't know all that. I didn't know all that. And for instance, in Erfurt, I was there at the university. I was presenting something to the Chankpa about Chankpa, and one of the young people in the amphitheater raises her hand and say, "Why do you keep those things there?" I like this reaction, and I say, I have achieved the goal why I am here, because this reaction is the proof that he's feeling inside of herself a certain malaise about the colonial history. We need to bring back the colonial history. And some of them are saying also, I know a lot about the German Holocaust, but I don't know a lot about the colonial history. Thank you for coming here to bring it back to me.
Dr. Toffa, as we have come to the end of my questions, are there certain points that you would want to add? Any thoughts, concluding thoughts?
I want to thank you for inviting me to discuss here. I enjoyed the small discussion, and even if I cannot speak well everything I have in my head, in my head, I want to encourage you and what you are doing. I am reading your work and your podcast everywhere in Lincoln, and I like the reaction of people. You are You are touching a lot of people. I'm happy to be part of the voice you are sending away in the world. And that's what I want to tell you. I want to thank you and to encourage the series Decolonial Memories to continue in this way.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful conversation, and all the best to
Thank you.
you and your family.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.